Good morning. Wow, we're all buzzing with the October sunshine this morning, huh? Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent, a congregation that strives to inspire love, seek justice, and to grow in community. Each month, we also consider a different spiritual theme in addition to considering our mission always. This month, we are considering ways that we can cultivate compassion. So that's new, right? We're leaving building belonging behind, although we're always building belonging. And we're thinking about ways to cultivate compassion. So whether you're here for the first time or you've been here thousands of times before, welcome. We're so glad that you decided to join us this morning. My name is Christina Church, and I have the pleasure and the privilege of serving you as your minister. And I'm here with Emily and Vanessa and Danny and Colleen and all the other folks that make our service happen each Sunday. So thanks to all the leaders who help with that every week. We're a community of folks that join virtually on Zoom, and we're, of course, also an embodied community right here in our beautiful Hobbs Hall. So we'd like to take a moment, those of us that are here in the hall, to greet the folks that are joining us virtually and let them know how happy we are that they're all here. So Julie, which camera are we using today? Okay. The camera on the side wall. Hello, everyone. We're so glad you're joining us. Welcome to our community today. If you're new or you would like to get involved, you can fill out one of these blue cards. We're kind of changing cards, so I have to make sure I've got my spiel straight. So we have these blue cards that are connection cards, and they're for folks that want to learn more about our community. And you can also fill one out if something like your address or some other part of your info has changed, so that we can stay current with you. And I'm going to invite Renee Rahutsky up right now, who's our connections queen, and she's going to let you know some more about ways to connect.
I got a promotion. Thank you. So I'm up here because I wanted to let those of you who are newer to the church know that we have a Kent UU Explorers series starting this Friday. It starts at 6:30 with a soup and bread dinner, and then at 7 we'll have discussion and a little bit of content, but it's a really great way to connect to the congregation, to connect with other people here, to learn about the church. If you're considering membership, it's one of the suggested things that you do before you become a member. I've had someone maybe interested in the Zoom option. If you happen to can't make it because of the timing or of childcare or something, let us know and we'll see if we can Zoom you in. Or if it just doesn't work for your schedule, that'd be a great opportunity to fill out a blue card and communicate. I'd love to take the Explorers series, but Friday nights don't work for me. And then we'll find something that does. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Renee. To continue our little tour through our cards, we have a yellow card, and this is if you have a big joy or a big sorrow that's happening in your life, maybe an anniversary, something that you would like to share with the congregation, you can fill one of these out and give it to an usher, or you can bring it on up to the pulpit, and it'll be shared later in the service. A couple more announcements before we settle in and get started. There is a community meal tonight at 5 o'clock right here in Hobbs Hall. This is put on by our youth. It's always a good, wonderful meal. It's for anyone who would like some hot food and some company. So you're welcome, and it's at 5 o'clock tonight. We hope you'll join us. And finally, our service auction, which is one of our big fundraisers throughout the year, our Thanks for Giving auction, is open now for donations, and you can learn more about that on the weekly news or on the website, or you can talk to Trudy, who I think Trudy's holding her hand up, and the other auction folks, as well as there's a flyer out in the foyer on the corkboard that tells more about how you can donate and participate. And now, with the sound of the chime, let's settle in, settle our bodies, and enter into a deeper space of worship.
Sweet Spirit, hear my prayer. Help these words heal someone out there. I am but a voice, just a cry in the air, but I sing nonetheless in this pain we share. Oh, sweet friends, come and dry your eyes and hold each other by this tree of life. I'm angry and tired of this great divide, but I sing nonetheless with love on our side. Oh, sweet souls who feel broken now, we'll heal together somewhere, somehow. Time and again we have been let down, but we sing nonetheless, still whole and still proud. Oh, sweet Spirit, hear my prayer. Help these words heal someone out there.
Bring who you are as you enter our church this morning. Bring your best self and your struggling self. Bring your mistakes and your triumphs. Bring your shortcomings and your recommitment to good. Bring yourself here and open your heart to beauty, to truth, to the door that is open to the presence of God. Here in this church, we are trying to walk together on the peaceable way, trying to hammer out division and hatred and all that separates one from another. We try and we will fall short, but held in love, we try again. We come together this morning as a church to bow our heads in prayer, to raise our voices in song, to remember our promises and vow to live by them once again.
And our chalice lighting this morning is Love is at the Center and the Foundation by Sherry Woodbury. Again, we reground ourselves here in our highest values.
Love is the center and foundation of this faith.
Love is the power that holds us together as a community.
As we enter into worship, then, let us open our hearts to the healing power of liberating love.
Because love is not only something we receive, but something we practice in community.
Let fall away all that might distract us from the wholehearted practice of love.
Let us be accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love.
As we continue to listen and learn, to act and grow,
may each unfold in wholeness,
both deeply loving and truly loved. Please join us in singing our opening hymn, Let It Be Love at the Center, by our own Katie Grigg Miller. The words will appear on the screen.
Let it be love at the center. Let there be love all around. Let it be love when you enter. If you were lost, now you're found. For it's love that forms the petals of our purpose. So let it be love at the center of this hour. The call of justice orders us to overthrow oppression. Diversity and equity are central to our mission. As everyone is worthy, we must labor for inclusion. When every faith is honored, we create a sacred fusion. And let it be love at the center. Let there be love all around. Let it be love when you enter. If you were lost, now you're found. For it's love that forms the petals of our purpose. So let it be love at the center of this hour. The web of life requires us to learn interdependence, transforming in a changing world to elevate existence. With gratitude and hope, we share resources, faith, and presence. Together growing, sowing seeds to nurture mercy's essence. So let it be love at the center. Let there be love all around. Let it be love when you enter. If you were lost, now you're found. For it's love that forms the petals of our purpose. So let it be love at the center of this hour. Let it be love at the center. Let it be love all around. Let it be love when you enter. If you were lost, now you're found. For it's love that forms the petals of our purpose. So let it be love at the center of this hour. Let us share this sacred flower with the world who needs its power. And let it be love at the center of our lives.
I have a story for you. As soon as I find it. Oh. There we go. All right. So, once upon a time, there was a field. It had dry grass and thistles and high places and low places, and there were rocks scattered around and a stream that passed through the one side. And scattered about the field here and there were flowers. Buttercups and tulips, coneflowers, lupines, flowers of red, yellow, blue. So beautiful, so tall. And now you might be asking yourself, how are there flowers growing in this field if it's so dry? Well, I'll tell you. The answer is that next to each of these flowers was a little hole. And in that hole lived an animal. And each animal's job was to tend to their flower. So most of these animals were rabbits, and some were hedgehogs, though, and some were field mice, and even there was a badger or two, a grumpy badger or two. Every day, each animal would come out of its hole and wander down to the stream with a leaf, collect some water into the leaf, return to their flower, and water the ground that their flower grew from. And that's how they grew. So in the field, next to a tall sunflower, lived a rabbit. And like all other animals, every day she would go down to the stream and she would get some water for her sunflower because she loved her flower. And all of her rabbit friends took care of their flowers too because they loved their flowers. And they would visit each other and admire each other's flowers. Well, one day, she was heading down to the stream, hopping over to the stream. And she decided to hop up to the top of a little hill on the other side of the gully. And when she got to the top, she saw something that she'd never seen before. Down in the little valley, a ways away, she saw a flower. And it was a daisy. But this flower was in bad shape. It was drooping, its colors were fading, and now she had never seen a flower like that before. And she had never hopped in that direction before. And all her friends' homes, they were on the other side of the hill. And so that's where she always was. I mean, of course she knew that there were other flowers out there, right? And she also knew that sometimes other flowers weren't doing so well. She'd heard the stories. But she'd never actually seen one that looked as bad as this. And so she hopped down the hill to take a closer look. And she got a little bit closer. And as she got closer, she began to really understand. This flower really was in bad need of water. So she felt terrible. She looked at that flower and she thought, how could it be so unhealthy, so neglected? Oh, I feel awful for this flower. And then she did nothing. She did nothing, right? She was thinking to herself that even though the flower looked so awful, it was just one flower in a field, after all. It's just one. There were lots of other flowers out there, and they're doing just fine. She had enough work watering her own flower and to worry about this one, right? So she went home and she got on with her business, getting up every day, going to the stream, bringing back water, and watering her own flower, then visiting her friends. But you know what? That other flower didn't go away. Didn't go away from her thoughts. And so every day when she came home, she couldn't help but hop to the top of that hill again and look down into the gully to see how that other flower was doing. And it wasn't getting any better. Every day it continued to dry and wilt and droop and really started to get to her. So she found herself thinking about it in the morning as she went off to water her flower, and thinking about it as she hopped back to her home, and thinking about it as she tried to sleep at night. She couldn't even enjoy her own flower as much, knowing that this other flower was in such desperate need. So now you might be wondering, well, why didn't she just go over and water that flower, right? After all, it was just on the other side of the hill, and the stream had plenty of water. That's a really good question that you'd be asking yourself. She thought about it all the time, and she'd think about making that extra trip down to the stream to get some more water for that flower. And then she'd think and think and think, and, well, she'd think to herself, you don't just march into somebody else's house and take care of their flowers for them, right? What if they yell at you? What if something terrible happens and you get in trouble? What if the flower likes being droopy? That's possible, right? Aren't there other animals whose job it is to take care of that flower? Maybe she should leave it to them. They know what they're doing. She doesn't want to mess up their plans. Well, with all of these questions swirling around in her head, for a long time, she just went about her business. And the questions would not stop bothering her, especially at night. So she took a deep breath, and she decided she was going to try something. Flowers aren't supposed to look like that, she thought to herself. Flowers are supposed to be colorful and bright and beautiful. So she found herself hopping over the hill towards this other flower with a leaf full of water. And as she got to the top of the hill, some of her friends called out, "Whoa, where are you going?" And she told them that she just had to water this other flower. She couldn't stand it anymore. And so the other bunnies were just clutched their pearls, right? Ah! Come back. What if you get hurt? What if you get in trouble? And they said it might be dangerous over there, and she shouldn't be going and messing with other people's flowers. But she kept going. And she hopped over the hill and down the other side, and she got close to that dry flower. And when she did, a grumpy badger jumped up out of the hole and said, "What are you doing here?" She said, "I'm going to water this flower," with a very shaky voice. She said, "If I don't water it, it's going to die." And the hedgehog said, "What business is it of yours? This isn't your flower. Why do you care?" She just took a deep breath, said nothing, hopped past the hedgehog, and watered that flower. He mumbled and grumbled, but he stepped aside. So she poured the water right on the base of the flower, and then she turned around and hopped back up the hill. So everything was fine, right? She did it. We did it. No. Her friends continued to think that she was out of her mind, and the hedgehog continued to yell at her, but every single day, she hopped over to that flower, and she watered it, day after day after day after day. And then something happened. The petals started to fill out. The flower stood up a little bit straighter. And then the wildest thing happened. It actually started to grow taller, right? And guess what happened after that? So did all the other flowers in the field. What a mystery. I haven't been watering all of those other flowers. How have all of these other flowers grown up so tall? Thought the bunny. The whole field was bright. The colors more vivid and taller, and it was almost as if there was water everywhere. How could that be? Had other rabbits maybe joined in and started watering these other flowers? Or is it that when somebody waters a wilting flower somewhere, all flowers everywhere grow just a little bit brighter? Who knows? Maybe we'll have to just try it and see.
Thank you, Colleen. One of the ways that we water the garden of community, one of the ways that we cultivate compassion here in our own congregation is by sharing our sorrows, our joys with one another, holding one another in care, in love. Among the sorrows and concerns that have been shared today with us, Maggie Williams shares her concern. She says, she lets us know that her spouse has been hospitalized for 2 weeks due to a medical emergency. We're asking for you to hold them in your thoughts as they navigate a long road to recovery. Maggie, we are with you and your spouse, your dear one, as you travel down this road together. And among the joys that are shared and the milestones with us this morning, Saul Flanner and Kathy Walker share that they are celebrating 34 years together and 29 years of marriage. Congratulations, Saul and Kathy. And on the Zoom chat, let me see here. Lori Merkin-McGee shares that Ava and the family had homecoming in the hospital last night. Everyone, especially Ava, had a wonderful time. We're glad that Ava had a great homecoming and that the family creatively was able to be with her and create that beautiful experience for her. Let us take a moment of silence to center into all that we are bringing into the space this morning. And please join me in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and love, known by many names and yet not fully known, we give thanks for this time, for this place, this renewal. We give thanks for the ability each week to begin again after a difficult time, after a loss, after meeting a challenge that has been set before us. Grant us the courage to continue on this journey. Grant us the courage to share joy so that it may be amplified. Grant us the courage to speak up for the well-being of others and ourselves and our beautiful planet. May we forgive each other when our courage falls short, and may we try again. May we love boldly, embody our faith and our values in living words and deeds. May our hearts open to embrace humility and grace and reconciliation. Grant us a sense of being at peace in our world, even as we are in motion, even as we encounter difficulty. Let us cultivate together the strength to welcome every kind of gift and all kinds of ways to be on this journey together. Amen.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.
Good morning. When I was in 7th grade at Wiley Middle School, I participated in a tradition that all 7th grade social studies students experienced. It was in Miss Rush's class, and the tradition was Schoolhouse Rock. At the start of every class for the first month of school, we watched a clip on the TV she rolled into the classroom. Feel free to sing along if you know it. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. Very nice. You all know it too. I will know the preamble to the Constitution until the day I die. I imagine that I could forget every part of my life, but if I hear the words, "We the people," I will sing it. My teacher taught us a valuable lesson in her tradition. In part, it was those words which are so important, but the other part was in how to make a concept your own, to keep. Schoolhouse Rock helped us memorize the words, but the deeper lesson was in the repetition. We sang it until we didn't have to think about it. But we did think about it, and those words will always echo in the minds of, I imagine, thousands of kids from Cleveland Heights. In my former life, not as a middle schooler, but as a corporate trainer focused on equity and inclusion, I had the responsibility to teach all of our employees. I trained literally thousands of people in my 18 years there, from new hires through senior leadership. Our corporate culture was pretty amazing as far as those go, and it was driven by our core values. They are integrity, the golden rule, objectives, profit, and excellence. I'm not going to teach them to you individually, but I could, because even after being away from the company for over 5 years, they are now a part of me. We made these core values a big part of everyday life. There were acronyms like I Go Pee. That's the one that I taught people because they would remember it. And it would make it hard to forget, so it worked. The words were on the walls in posters and on whiteboards, and most importantly, we used the values to drive all of our business decisions. When I was teaching even more obscure classes like negotiating in tense situations, I taught the core values first and last. And as we worked, we would connect the concepts we were learning back to them. For example, in every class we discussed ethical dilemmas, and the value of integrity was the obvious focus. We taught that the truth was always the best way no matter what. I can remember saying, you could mess up badly and still have a job. You can make many mistakes in your work, and we will always have your back. But don't ever lie, cheat, or steal. We will work with you forever to help you avoid making mistakes, but if an integrity issue is uncovered, you're out. And that was the truth. I watched it a number of times. I was a part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion program rollout about 15 years ago and developed the trainings for roughly 40,000 employees, including senior leadership. During this process, I did a lot of research and learning about culture within organizations. I learned that shifting a culture in an organization is a long and difficult process. The rule of time, like the rule of thumb, is 7 years, which means when an organization is undergoing an intentional cultural change, it usually takes about 7 years for everyone to become fully on board with that new culture, to really own it and see it as their own. During this process, we worked hard to tie all of the concepts back to our core values, which wasn't too difficult. Because we knew these were so deeply entrenched in our people, we knew that connecting the dots would be helpful for folks to see the benefit of the DEI rollout. And while it was true that it took about 7 years to see the culture fully shift, it was vitally important to use our values as the basis of the work. A few years ago, I entered therapy as I was really struggling with depression and anxiety, I'm sure, right around 2016. I'm sure a lot of you get it. Shame played a big part in that, but it was something that I didn't fully understand for myself. I just knew that it hurt. One thing that I learned in therapy was that shame often comes from behaving in a way that is not aligned with your personal values. This rung very true for me, and I spent some time exploring the idea of personal values and defining them for myself. I think my work as a trainer helped prepare me for this because I'd used core values to embed the concepts with my students and helped them to own the ideas and to have pride in them. I did many exercises and a lot of writing to help me discover which values I hold the strongest. And now, when I feel shame or guilt because of something I did or said, I immediately go through a process of evaluating the situation and relating it to my values, which helps me to figure out how to make amends and hold myself and others accountable. When the outside world learns about Unitarian Universalism, I believe that we're often viewed as not having a strong underlying common belief system. Without a single entity or book telling us what to believe, the perception of a free-for-all exists. But I think that simplifying our value statements into single concepts is a great opportunity for us as a faith, for individual churches around the world, and for each of us as individuals. We even have an easy-to-remember acronym in JETPIG. Y'all remember JETPIG? Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. These are the 6 principles of Unitarian Universalism. They are just words until we use them actively. To begin, find a way to remember them. I think there's a song. Isn't there like a song or something? And I use JETPIG because it helps me not forget one of them. I always forget one, and so acronyms are helpful for that. If we're to really embrace these 6 values and make them fully ours, there are many ways to bring them to the surface in our work as a congregation. As leaders, we can discern for ourselves which principles may be driving the work we are doing and share that with our teams. For example, in my sharing right now, as a member of the Worship Arts Committee, the value of transformation comes to mind. Adaptation to change is the primary concept behind transformation, and in sharing my thoughts with you, I know I am working for a cultural shift within UUism. I'm up here speaking to you while a whole team of people make these services happen, an example of our interdependence. I think for many committees and teams, it will seem somewhat obvious which value is being shared, for example, the generosity team. But it may not be as evident in other circumstances, and I encourage you to find ways to highlight our values as we are embodying them. Do the work for yourself first, and spend some time considering how you are demonstrating our values. Every single interaction we have within our community can be a form of sharing our values with each other in words and in deeds and in policy. And our interactions with the outside world can be an opportunity for us to tie our actions to our values and share them broadly. Unitarian Universalism cannot be easily boiled down into creeds or statements. That in itself is part of our culture. But with these 6 values held together by love, we have a chance to deepen our own understanding of our faith, while also making it easier for others to see our values in action and find commonalities. We have much to give the world and a strong collective understanding of the values that drive us. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. You know, we've been working with these values for a while now, since we adopted them, not this past summer, but the summer before that. We adopted them as a movement by a democratic vote. And I'm still getting used to them, probably you are too, but we of course have a handy picture on the front of your order of service today, and sometimes it's pictured as a flower, sometimes it's pictured as, this kind of atom-looking thing. Although my husband, who's a chemistry professor, says atoms don't really look like that. That's not, that's not correct, but this is kind of what we all think it looks like in there, right? And so, as we work with these values and as we start to understand them and apply them to our own lives, it's going to feel a little bit awkward, but I thought I would start today. We have so many holidays and, milestones and anniversaries happening in the fall. We just finished with the Jewish season of the Days of Awe, the High Holy Days, and with Yom Kippur, the most holy day in the Jewish calendar, right? We also have an anniversary coming up of the taking of the hostages in the Israeli hostages and the difficulties, the tragedy that's unfolding in Gaza now, as the world watches and as the world tries to come to grips with what is happening there. We also have other things happening in our world to which we can perhaps apply these values. And so I want to first talk about love. We say love at the center a lot, and we talk about love. But what do we mean when we talk about love? Love is an all-purpose word that is made to do a lot of work in the English language. And so when we talk about love, we're not talking about waiting until we feel some kind of special feeling for someone before we decide to take action or to drive our moral decision-making process, right? To me, the way to think about love at the center is that we are centering life and the thriving of this world, this ecosystem, all humans, all beings that live with us on this planet. And so whenever we are on the side of life, whenever we are on the side of thriving, that is what we are doing to center love. Now, the situation in the Middle East is terrifying and absolutely heartbreaking. And it's hard to understand how we can possibly center love in a situation like that. But one way that we must is to remember that in our tradition, every human being has inherent worthiness and dignity. Every single human being. And so we have got to look at this unfolding situation through the lens of love, through understanding that each person is incredibly important to this world, that each person has the ability, the potential to do good or to do evil. And so we must not throw out condemnations that are blanket condemnations of one society or another, and yet we must speak for justice. This is difficult. We must hold in our hearts everyone who is suffering. We don't need to understand the political terminology, but we do need to understand the difference between a government and a people. Surely we can understand that now, that we are in our own crisis, in which the actions of the government are not necessarily the wishes of the people. We must be nuanced in our thinking, and we must refuse to condemn and trash entire societies, entire religions, entire peoples. And yet we must recognize the disproportionality between the suffering on one side and the suffering on the other side. We must recognize when there is intention to do harm, then we must call that out. Love calls us to do that. Now, I want to talk about a couple of other of our values that may not seem obviously connected to what's happening in the Middle East, but perhaps as a sort of understanding and a sort of exploration of how we are all called to help, we can think about these values. And the first one is pluralism. Pluralism, what does that even mean? Well, our statement says that we celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. And we covenant to learn from one another in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. This kind of outlook necessarily includes a certain humility, right? It says, I can never really know what it is like in another person's skin. Each being, each person comes with experiences, ways of knowing, connections to cultures and families and practices that are just as valid as mine or yours. The Unitarian Universalist philosopher and theologian Donald Crosby puts it this way: reality itself is multi-perspectival, meaning that there is no one truth that we can point to. What does this mean? It means that each person contains an entire world of thoughts and experiences and understandings that is unique to that person. That is why we are all sacred beings. And so following upon that, Talmudic wisdom says that whoever destroys a single life, it is as if they destroyed the entire world. And whoever saves a single life, it is as if they saved that they saved the entire world. That is the depth of pluralism. And so as we come to terms with what is happening, we must embrace multiple perspectives. We must understand that there are many, many stories going back thousands of years in this place. And yet, we must not allow that sort of sense of pluralism to silence us, to stop us from calling out against the human suffering that is happening there. We must continue to learn about the situation, and yet we must be on the side of each human being who is suffering. This is how we are called as Unitarian Universalists. And finally, I want to speak to transformation. Transformation as we face this anniversary of the catastrophe. I have a little problem with our statement of value when it comes to transformation, for it simply says we adapt to the changing world. I don't think that that is a complete statement about transformation. I think that in future years, if we decide to work some more on these values, I think that we may want to include something about the ways that we try to bring about changes in the world to make them better. That we recognize our power to create transformations, as well as our need to adapt to the changing world. Because we have to believe, don't we? We have to believe that our world is capable of transformation and that we can be a part of it. I grew up in the generation that saw the Berlin Wall come down, right? I grew up in the generation that saw apartheid South Africa end its practices and create a more whole, integrated society. I grew up in the generation where Milosevic was brought to justice. I believe that we can make changes in the world. Can we do them perfectly? No. But we must believe in the power of transformation and work for it. Does it matter if we believe that the world can change? Does it matter if we believe that Gaza can thrive again? Yes, it absolutely does, even if we are here watering our flowers and watching their flowers drooping and wilting. We must believe that this can transform and bring our energies, our resources, yes, our money, to affect that change. Now, let me end here with a quote, because this is very overwhelming, isn't it? It's overwhelming. And we don't always feel like we're doing enough. The desire to turn away, we've talked about that before. The desire to turn away and not pay attention to those flowers that are wilting is strong. But let me end with this quote from Clarissa Pinkola Estes, one of my favorite writers, who shares a hopeful philosophy about social change and the way that each of us can bring our gifts. Each of us can be a part of making a change. She says, ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is in our reach. Any small, calm thing that we can do to help, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world will help immensely. It is not given to us to know by which acts or by whom will cause the critical mass to tip toward an enduring good. The critical mass to tip toward an enduring good. We know that transformation does not happen all at once. We know that transformation comes from many small acts built up over time until that tipping point arrives. And so, my friends, let us continue to do those small acts, what we can, and to hold in our hearts the vision of a world with less suffering as we pass this terrible milestone and wonder what we can do. Let us believe that transformation is possible, that accumulation of acts, adding and adding to and adding more and continuing, that Clarissa talks about, will arrive at a tipping point. She says, we know it does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but only a small, determined group who will not give up during the first, the second, or the 100th try. May we not give up. May we not turn away. May we work for justice. May we center love for all beings in our hearts every day from this day forward. May it be so.
This song is based on Deepa Iyer's work on the social change roles, which she wrote a book that's the common read for Unitarian Universalism this year. So if you're interested in digging more a little bit into some of the things that the song sings about, or if you're interested in kind of getting in tune with what your role might be, or what sparks for you that might affect change, and like how you can become part of this movement, and also kind of the lens is also nice to look at movements that already exist and kind of figure out how to bolster them or support them. I invite you to join in the chorus with me. We're going to it lists all the social change rules as identified by Deepa Iyer. And I just wanted to thank my colleague Natasha Steinmacher, we did a songwriting group together, and she's helped me with the chords and things for this. So it goes like this. Weavers, healers, storytellers, guides, responders, builders, disruptors, experimenters, caregivers, visionaries. We need you, we need you, we need you. Sing it with me. Weavers, healers. Weavers, healers, storytellers, guides, responders, builders, disruptors, experimenters, caregivers, visionaries. We need you, we need you, we need you. Do you dare to hold the pen? Do you dare to dream the dream? Is the world that you seek emergent, remembering? Do you trust in the power of creativity? Oh, visionary, come with me. Weavers, healers, storytellers, guides, responders, builders, disruptors, experimenters, caregivers, visionaries. We need you, we need you, we need you. Do you see the lines and threads that bind us one by one? Is your vision of magnificence this vast ecosystem? Can you see all the secrets of connectivity? Oh, weavers, come with me. Weavers, healers, storytellers, guides, responders, builders, disruptors, experimenters, caregivers, visionaries. We need you, we need you, we need you. Is the longing in your soul so powerful you weep? Do you sometimes awake at night or have trouble finding sleep? Is the world in your imagining worth trying, digging deep? Come, let's create this community. Weavers, healers, storytellers, guides, responders, builders, disruptors, experimenters, caregivers, visionaries. We need you, we need you, we need you.
Each week, we make a practice of our core value of generosity by sharing what we are able to support the work of this congregation and with organizations outside its walls doing work in accordance with our UU values. October's special collection will support Equality Ohio, an LGBTQ+ advocacy and legal aid organization working to transform institutions so LGBTQ+ Ohioans can fully access legal and lived equality. Donations can be made online or dropped in the baskets the ushers will bring your way. Thank you for all that you share with our community. You are a generous people.
This song is written by Reverend Lynn Harrison, a UU minister, and it's based on the lyrics from Jewish wisdom tradition from the sages, words of the sages. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now, love mercy now, go humbly now. You need not complete the work, but you must not abandon it. You need not complete the work, but you must not abandon it. Do justly now, love mercy now, go humbly now. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now, love mercy now, go humbly now. Justly now, love mercy now, go humbly now.
Where are we?
Here. Hi. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And please join us in singing our closing hymn, number 415, Hevenu Shalom Aleichem.
Extra verses in too, so you'll see the words on the screen. You can rise, embody your spirit. Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom Aleichem, Venu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Mana Ajmal Min Salam, Mana Ajmal Min Salam.
Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, and the path is never clear, and the stakes are very, very high. Take courage, for deep down, there is another truth. You are not alone, and we are not alone. Go in peace and spread peace in our suffering world, and have joy as you do it. Thank you.